Hi, Ms. Cohen. Thank you for letting us interview you. I'm Ben Brace.
Hey, Ben.
This is Harrison behind us. He's our cameraman.
Hi,
And
Harrison.
we're just going to be doing a quick interview with 20 questions, just asking you a few things. So, to start off, what is your favorite word?
Compassion.
Compassion? Why would you say your favorite word would be compassion?
Because I think through my own life experiences and through what I'm observing about the world that we could all use more compassion for each other, and that if the world had more sensitivity to other people's struggles and their feelings and emotions and were more supportive of them, then less people would suffer.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Next question. What is your least favorite word? Sorry.
Weird.
Weird?
When I taught psychology for 16 years, my students would say, "Can I talk to you?" And I'd say, "Sure." And I would say to them, "Well, tell me what's going on." And they'd say, "Oh, I just feel weird." And I said to them, "Weird doesn't tell me anything. Weird's not a word that gives me enough information. So can you choose jealous, angry, sad, another more descriptive word?" So
Would strange
weird.
fit into that category as well, like weird?
Yes, sure, strange. It's not definitive enough to be able to actually hold a conversation with somebody and know where they're coming from.
Okay. What turns you off?
Unkindness.
Unkindness?
People that are not caring, they are disrespectful, they are degrading to somebody else.
What sound or noise do you love?
R&B music, soul music.
R&B music?
Yeah.
Just because it's so soothing?
It's soothing, but it also lifts my spirits, with Jackson Brown and
So it kind of gives you like an upper for the day.
yeah, music definitely can help me improve my mood.
I have to agree with you. Music does improve my mood too.
I bet it does. Yeah.
What profession would you most like to do?
If I had my life to do over, I think I might have liked to have been a forensic psychologist.
Forensic psychologist.
Someone that puts criminal pieces together to see if they can profile the next crime or see if they could catch a criminal by the psychological evidence that they leave.
And what kind of like when you say that you wanted to be a forensic psychologist, right? Why would you want to have that profession?
I'm a person that needs a lot of variety in every day. It's why I love teaching, because no 2 days are the same. The kids provide me with a variety of stimulus and things that they bring in to my life, and so I get to play with them sometimes, and I get to help them sometimes with their sadnesses. And so I like a job that every day is varied. And I learned after I chose to teach psychology that a part of me really enjoys that field. And so probably those two things.
What profession would you not want to do?
Sitting at a desk in front of a computer, answering a phone.
Computer, desk, phone.
Yeah, but I'm not in a confined space. I get to move around, and I'm not on the computer all day long. And I have 175 students every day that bring me newness, energy, stimulation, interest. The exchange between my students and my personality is energizing to me. Even if it's a sadness that they experience or a struggle that they're having, I like to be able to help them. And so I'm very people-oriented, not machine-oriented.
So you're not like Mr. Parker, where it's like he teaches behind the computer and everything's on like on a PowerPoint.
I don't know how Mr. Parker teaches, but I tell you, I love that guy, and I think he's a great teacher.
So do I.
Yeah.
I loved him. I had him last year.
Yeah.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'm proud of the way that you lived your days.
I like that answer.
Yeah, wow, I don't even know where that came from. You just asked me the question, and that was
I just came right from the heart.
Yeah. I want to be proud at the end, and I want my deceased son to be proud of me.
I think it's something very special that you have, that just to say that right off when I said that question. That was a
Yeah.
really nice answer.
Well, you know, part of the reason I could give that answer is because of you. You're a person that it's easy to communicate with, and I can be truthful with, and I trust you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you?
Oh.
I know I had to ask that question.
Oh, I have so many. I don't even know where to start. Probably when I fell, when I was 16 years old, in a USO in Korea, getting a burger on my plate, and my shoe slipped, and I fell in front of all these young servicemen. And my food went everywhere. I was mortified. But that's only one of... In 60 years, I've humiliated myself so many times, it's hard to even remember. I try not to remember.
It's there, but
Yeah, no.
It doesn't bother you.
Oh, it does. But I realize as I've gotten older that we all make mistakes and we all humiliate ourselves. And the more graceful I can deal with my own humiliation, the more maybe I can help other people realize that it's a human experience. And we all can deal with our embarrassing moments more gracefully. We don't have to cover them up. We don't have to blame somebody else for them. We can just own them and be okay. I'm an okay person, even though I make a fool of myself.
Right. It's I think it's something that not a lot of people have, because they're just so embarrassed of it that they'll bottle it up forever, and they
Yeah.
just can't learn to laugh
At
it off.
themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cause like if you don't like laugh at yourself once in a while, you can't really move on.
Well, you know, they always say, don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Yeah, but most of us do.
Yeah. I think at least a good 70% of us do.
Yeah, until you've humiliated yourself so many times, there's just no possible way you can keep taking yourself seriously. And you realize you're okay. That's the key, is you realize you're okay. In spite of, you can not take yourself seriously. You can make mistakes. You can do things that you wish you hadn't done and apologize for them. And you're still okay. You are a wonderful person because of how you responded to that. Not because of the mistake, but how you responded to it.
So it's like coming to grips with really getting to know yourself and just being okay with who you are.
Yeah, and owning your own behavior.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear used to be that I'd lose my children. But I've experienced my biggest fear. I've lost my son, and my other biggest fear was that I could never live on my own, that I would be divorced and I could never take care of myself. And in the first year that I lost my son, I not only lost my son, but I lost my 34-year marriage. And so I have been forced to find the very essence of who I am and the depths of my capability as a person, and face some very deep, frightening thoughts or beliefs I had about myself and overcome them. And so I would say that I have faced both of my greatest fears. And it's not easy.
It's never easy when you have to face your greatest fear, but from what I've seen, like just being in your class, I've seen that you've overcome quite a lot.
I'm working on it. It's definitely, as they say, a work in progress, but I have made progress.
You do put up a strong front, though. You really do. Like I don't think anybody, like when I first walked in the door to your classroom, I would have never thought in the world that you would have such a story like that.
Oh.
Like, I thought you were just like a really like happy-go-lucky, go out there, like strong-hearted, person, but I had no idea you had that kind of past.
And that I was that vulnerable?
Yeah.
Or that, yeah. Well, I've always told my students all these years, it isn't what happens to you, it's how you deal with what happens to you. And I've told them that. This is my 31st year of teaching, but it wasn't until I had to face those deepest fears that I realized how true that statement was. And it doesn't mean that you don't struggle with those moments. I mean, sometimes I think, would my son be proud of me? And if I was dealing with this way, and that gets me back on the right track. And honestly, Ben, my students have been the thing that has really given me support over the years. I'm so grateful to be a teacher. I am so grateful for my kids.
So what you could say is that teaching really saved you in a way.
Yeah.
Through
my relationships with my kids.
Relationships and the years of experience have truly paid off.
They have. And those relationships continue. I mean, I have texts from them. I have kids that check in with me. I know if I need something, I can call any number of my ex-students and they will be there for me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the abundance of blessings that I've received, even in spite of what's happened to me.
What would you consider a perfect day on a lighter note?
Yeah, sleeping in.
Sleeping in?
With my dog not waking me up really early. And having a cup of coffee in bed and reading, just reading my novel, you know, and leisurely getting up. Taking my dog for a walk or a run. And then having breakfast with a friend. Actually, I had that day on Monday.
Oh, really?
I did. I had breakfast with a friend. I had a lunch walk in the park with another friend. And I had dinner with another friend.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I needed to catch up with my friends. I had been, you know, kind of busy doing other stuff and lost track of some of my friends. And so, so some quiet time, some friendship time, some productive time. I cleaned my house. I rearranged my living room. So, yeah, that was a good day.
What are your 3 favorite things in life?
Sitting on a beach, tropical beach, reading a book, swimming in the ocean with someone I feel really special about next to me.
I like that a lot. I'm a big ocean fan. I'm a diver. I love going to Hawaii. Yeah, that's why I have in my class ring. I have the scuba sign. My nickname from all the scuba divers.
Oh
in
my gosh!
Hawaii, they call me Scuba Ben. So I have my nickname put on my ring.
You know, I always was afraid to scuba dive. I've snorkeled a lot in the tropics, but I've never scubaed because I always felt claustrophobic about it. Is it claustrophobic?
No, not at all. It once you actually take a breath under the water, it feels like you're just above it.
Wow, I'll have to try it again.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I've been diving 27 times, 27 recorded dives.
Wow.
I've probably logged in like at least 60 hours of dive time in my life, and that's just been in the past like 4 or 5 years.
Have you thought about that as a profession?
Oh yeah, like my dream job is actually doing photography or video for National Geographic for underwater.
Jacques Cousteau, you know that name?
Yeah, I've heard of Jacques Cousteau before.
Yeah, yeah. He had, when I was growing up, we always used to watch Jacques Cousteau, and he'd have his underwater team.
Was he like one of the first divers that did like the, who had more like a documentary about the sea? He was really famous for it.
Oh, very, very famous for that, but I don't know if he's one of the first. But I mean, he was a part of my bringing up. You know.
And you also have some like link to creating like the first like dry suit or wetsuit.
Oh, see, you're much more knowledgeable about it than I am. I don't know. I know that would be a job where I could see you falling over backwards out of the back of the side of the boat. Mm-hmm. You know how they do with their flippers up in the air and then going down and just, it's so graceful.
Oh, yeah.
Scuba diving looks so graceful.
I'm absolutely at peace when I'm in the water.
Oh, wow.
That's
actually a nice thing to know.
That's actually how I've come to find, like, that's not how I want to die, but like when I die, I want to get cremated and I want to have my ashes thrown in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like that's
me too.
That's where I want to be.
Me too. You and I. But I won't need scuba gear, and I don't. And the reason I want to be thrown in the ocean is because that claustrophobic thing. I don't want to be buried in a box in the ground. So yeah, I agree.
What are 3 things that bother you the most?
Irresponsibility. Excuses, and mean people.
Mean people.
Insensitive people.
Yeah, I don't care for it.
I find a mama bear thing that comes out in me. You know, it brings out my protective nature. And so if I see one student doing it to another student, this protective thing just wells up in me about wanting to protect that person. My son, Jesse, was like that too. He was very protective. He worked with special ed kids and had that same trait.
That's really sweet. It takes a lot of, I'd like to say, a lot of care to do something like that, because not a lot of people would be willing to do that, like in Jesse's case, you know?
Yeah.
Help the mentally handicapped, because a lot of people just shrug them off, so he had to have had some kind of heart to do that.
He just had a huge heart. And just to classify Jesse, one day life was going really well for him and he was feeling so grateful, and he posted on his Facebook page, "Life is going so great. Does anybody need anything? I want to give back. Do you need to move? Do you need me to lift something? What do you need? Call me." And that was the essence of Jesse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a hard worker, I take it?
Yeah, he was a committed athlete. I mean, the guy was all heart. He was, you know, one of the things about Jesse was whatever he did 150%. That was both the good and the stupid things he did. So he was an all-out guy. And he paid the price for some of his stupid things. But there were many more heartfelt things about him. He was a normal human being. He wasn't a saint. Jesse was not a saint. But his compassion and his caring and his love was broader and bigger and wider and more committed and than anything I've observed in so many people. His slogan for everybody he met was, "Be a champion." And so we have that on the back of my necklace, actually, which I happen to randomly be wearing. It says, "Jesse, my champion." And when I would whine about training for a half marathon or something, you know, he'd go, "Mom, stop whining, get out there, you know, be a champion." So the term "be a champion" is Jesse's slogan, and all of us use it when it comes to Jess.
Now, you told me before that you're a Christian, and
yeah, I believe in God.
You believe in God? Okay, so do I. But I believe that. Do you believe that God has like a purpose for everybody?
I do.
You serve a certain purpose.
Yeah, I have a job to do when I'm here. I believe that.
Well, what I've learned quite a bit, because I've heard a lot of stories related to Jesse's, you know, someone who's very kind-hearted, who, you know, is very outgoing, someone very special like that. There's always that term, the good die young. And what I believe, just to make it seem like everything's going to be okay, is that, you know, God has a greater plan. You know, what you did on earth is what you made yourself, and you'll always live by what you were. Right? Right. So, for someone like him, you know, to go up to heaven, he has to be a very powerful influence up there. For someone like that,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
He had a job for him to do.
He did. And, you know, I've heard that, the good die young. And what I believe now, after especially living 60 years, is it's not the good or the bad that die young or old. It is that I think we all have a mission. You know, we all have a purpose to be the very best people we can be, always exuding love and kindness and compassion for other people. And I guess that some of us can do the job faster than others. You know, that some of us, some of our journeys take longer, or we have more to accomplish, or we have more lives we have to touch or something. As Lance Brogdon, my colleague here, always said to me repetitively, he knows no one who crammed as much life into 26 years as Jesse. I mean, Jesse did it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, you know. But he did it with passion, and he did it wholeheartedly. And that guy was, I mean, he loved with his whole heart. And so his mission, whatever you call it, his purpose, must have been fulfilled, and it was time for him to go, and he needed to go somewhere and help somebody else. Apparently my mission isn't over. I'm still here. So I do focus on that, though. I do think about every day when I wake up, why am I here, and what am I supposed to be doing, and who am I supposed to be helping? And I had a very serious conversation with a student of mine who is suffering from loss right now, just last period. And I think maybe one of the reasons why I suffered such pain is because now I can offer an understanding of that experience to other people in a way that I couldn't have before.
And I think that's one of the many aspects about you that you can relate a lot to your students or connect with them, is just your experience.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely have a lot under your belt, and I have to say, like, just from what I've had so far in my life, that it does seem like a lot's on your plate, like, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's good or bad, you definitely have a lot. You definitely know a lot. You have a lot to do still.
Yeah, I try. I believe I have a lot to do still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I just feel like when we're given experiences in life, we're also given the opportunity to share them or to hold them. And I feel like I trust my students with my honesty. A lot of adults won't trust younger people with mature ideas, mature topics, mature emotions. But I have found my students are very capable of stepping up to the plate and responding when you talk to them as if they're an adult and they understand those complex feelings and ideas that you are experiencing as a human being. And my students have given me feedback that said that they appreciate that consideration of their intelligence and their capability of understanding the complexity of emotions and intellectual and emotional situations.
Well, I have to admit, I do appreciate it as well.
Oh, thank you.
I really do. This is actually my favorite class.
Oh, thank you.
I'm kind of upset that this is only a semester class. I really wanted to have you again next semester.
Well, I have a saying about all my students. Once you have me, you always have me. Mm-hmm. You can't get rid of me, and I will always be there for you. I will always follow you. I will always be here as a resource for you. And I had a student who walked in at 20 years old who walked in that door because he was on his last resource, and he was a drug addict. Miss Fisher and I and Jesse helped him because Jesse randomly happened to be here. He did end up passing away, but what was interesting was after I had him in high school, his last resort place to come for help was back to PV. And two of us, and luckily Jesse actually sat with him when they came to pick him up to 5150 him and put him in because he was a danger to himself. Right out here on the curb. So.
Now, I know you have a class starting up, so I'm going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Okay, let's get to some of our better questions here. Okay, what is the funniest personal story you can tell us?
Oh! I don't know. I have so many stupid stories. I can't think of one right off. My mindset is, in a little bit different place. So
Right.
To come up with that really
kind of jump from
quickly,
one-
yeah. And also knowing the pressure of the time, I don't really know if I can come up with one of those right off the bat.
What's your happiest childhood memory?
Oh, beaches. My happiest childhood memory is that we used to go to a beach every summer. And in Korea, I was raised in Korea, and so I always had to wear shoes. And so I got to take off my shoes and run on the kind of the pathways that were just like dust, and I got to run on the beach, and I woke up every morning, went down and swam all day long, came home, ate lunch, went back, swam. I mean, it was just heaven.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was.
I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Whew. Man, I've done a lot of crazy things too. Craziest thing I've ever done.
If I were to help you out a little bit on
Yeah.
this one, tell us something.
Oh, when I went and saw the riot?
Oh, I was gonna say something that every teenager could relate to of being young and dumb.
Okay. Well, young and dumb. Well, I remember I was raised overseas. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I was a senior in high school. And we had a senior lounge. And so when one day we were down at the senior lounge, and I was on the back of a huge university campus, and we heard there was a riot on the campus. And so it was about a mile, and you ran through the woods and the whole thing, and you went down to the front of the campus. And the front of the campus had like a trestle, and it had how the trestles have like a U over it, so cars could go in and out. And so there was the slope that went up, and then there was a trestle across. And so 5 of us decided we were going to go down and just watch the riot. So we ran down, and we decided the best view of watching the riot. And mind you, there were rocks randomly all over the road from students throwing rocks at the police, which we didn't see yet. And then as we scrambled up the top and got to the trestle, we all sat. I distinctly remember this, sitting cross-legged in my desert boots and my jeans and my T-shirt, and just entertained by the riot. And right on the other side was a block of 10 by 10 riot police. I mean, this was a serious event, and we're all taking it like this is a TV show, right? So we're sitting up there, and we're cocky and, just watching the whole thing happen. All of a sudden, they launched tear gas. We hear this pop, and they launched tear gas. And so it's the first time I was ever in tear gas. Then I looked to my left, and coming down the railroad tracks was a block of riot police. Helmet, the big shield, just scared the daylights out. Full armor, just a boom, boom, just walking down the railroad tracks toward us. Man, we hightailed it out of there, slid, fell, rolled down the thing, and ran all the way back up to school. And yeah.
Were you ever affected by the tear gas?
Yeah, that's how I actually literally knew what tear gas felt like.
Like there's a lot of like video games and like movies that show people going through tear gas. Like Bruce Willis, like, oh, I can handle this. It's tear gas. Like, what's the feeling?
You can't see. You literally can't see.
Like, is it blurry? Is it?
Yeah,
dark?
it's blurry.
Blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry, and it stings and it hurts. And you can't open your eyes. That's where the rolling and the, whatever it took for us to get down the thing, because you can't see. You can't open your eyes enough to see.
Is it like mace too? Like you go out in sunlight, sometimes it like also like
Never been maced. You been maced?
No. I've just heard because my best friend's dad's a policeman, so he said, yeah, when you're maced, you walk out in the sunlight, you can still feel like the effects of it.
Oh no, it was several hours before it, and also we weren't caught in the depths of it. It was just starting to come, and so it was going to intensify. But we got a couple of canisters around us when they went off, so we were starting to feel it. And that's between that and the troops coming down, we hightailed it out of there. Yeah.
How far did you have to run to really just get out of that area?
Probably about a quarter mile to get away from the tear gas smoke and the smell and the whole thing. Mm-hmm.
What are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
I want to go on a riverboat trip down like the Danube River. There's there's a riverboat, and it's a long, but it's like a cruise, but it's not on a huge cruise liner, and it pulls into various ports in Yugoslavia and that whole area, Black Sea, and get a look at Prague and Lenin. I'd like to go to Russia and see.
Oh, so would I.
St. Petersburg is supposed to be beautiful, and my husband's been, and so that's one of the things on my bucket list. And I don't know. There's some trips I'd like to take. Sit on a tropical beach is definitely a lot of time is on it.
Now this will be our last question. And
Okay.
this one is just totally a shot in the dark question.
All right.
All right. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
What is the psychological implications of me answering this question? I mean, there's got to be some hidden agenda behind this thing. Okay, 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck. I'll take the one horse-sized duck.
Take the one horse-sized duck?
You bet.
So would I.
Awesome. And see, Ben, that's why we can talk with each other like this.
Because we would fight one horse-sized
We
duck.
would, yeah, we would. And you know what? We would both win.
Yep.
Because we have the determination to do that. Ben, this has been a real pleasure.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I appreciate you
Thank you for
taking the time to talk to me.
You're welcome.